Hello and welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, Chief Justice of Nigeria inaugurates elections petitions tribunals for the 36 states, and the FCT warns judges against compromise. Nigerian Army denies rumor of an interim government to be headed by it, says it remains committed to the defense of democracy. APC and PDP trade words over attack on Kaduna State Governor's convoy. Police vows to deal with culprits. And Islamic State militants release online video claiming to show Jordanian pilot being burned alive.
On Business News tonight, Central Bank of Nigeria plans special intervention in the Baroda change segment of the foreign exchange market.
And on sports news, presidential candidate Prince Ali bin Al Hussein calls for an end to the culture of intimidation within FIFA.
The judiciary is beginning to put its house in order in preparation for the fallout of this month's general elections, when the battle might shift to the courts. To this end, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mahmood Mohammed, has inaugurated the 2015 Elections Petitions Tribunals for the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. The Chief Justice warned that the National Judicial Council will not spare anyone found wanting in the course of discharging their duties. Our correspondent Amaka Okafor reports.
Over 200 judicial officers comprising of justices of the Appellate Court, the High Court and Chief Magistrate Court converge at the Supreme Court. They assemble in line with Section 133 of the Electoral Act, which stipulates that election petition tribunals must be established 14 days prior to the elections, and their secretariat must open 7 days to the elections. Soon after the Chief Justice arrived in company of other justices of the Supreme Court, the judicial officers took their oath of allegiance. Done with the ceremony, the Chief Justice urged members of the tribunal to do justice to cases before them with honesty, in line with the law, and not by personal conviction or affiliations.
You must ensure that all petitions must be founded upon grounds which are contained in Section 138 of the Electoral Act, and not on extraneous provisions of the law, and the tribunal is not a court of vain inquisition. All your considerations must be founded in law only.
He, however, warned members of the tribunal to shun any attempt by politicians and their organizations to influence their proceedings, as the National Judicial Council will not fail to punish anyone found wanting.
You must ensure that your acts are in strict conformity with the law. Therefore, you must shun acts such as acceptance of gifts or favors from counsel or politicians, and in the exchange of illicit communication with parties, which acts would erode the integrity of the tribunal irretrievably. I assure you that any judge found wanting will only have himself to blame, as the National Judicial Council will definitely not spare the rod in ensuring that the honor, respect, independence of the judiciary is properly protected.
After their inauguration, the various tribunals will now wait for the election petitions to begin proceedings. Amaka Okafor, Channels Television News.
Now, as the military continues its fight against Boko Haram in the northeast, the federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring respect for human rights. An official at the Ministry of Justice, Professor Peter Akpa, who gave the assurance in Abuja at a forum on counter-terrorism, said the government remains focused on ending the insurgency in Nigeria. In doing this, the professor said the military will carry out its mandate within the confines of the law and procedures relating to fair trial.
There are lots of human rights concerns. Striking a balance between the demands of human rights and national security is a matter of concern in all jurisdictions where the war against terror is being prosecuted. It is against this backdrop that a senior official in the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation reaffirmed the commitment of government in fighting terrorism within the ambit of the law.
Although difficult and sometimes daunting, the government has remained focused on the objective of combating terrorism in all its ramifications in the country. Government's counter-terrorism is to confront all those threatening the nation's collective peace and security and bring the perpetrators to justice.
A senior legal officer from the Office of a National Security Advisor agreed with the position of the Attorney General, saying a counter-terrorism strategy has been put in place.
We have a national counter-terrorism strategy that stands on 5 themes. One is, first of all, to prevent terrorism happening. How do we develop our individuals? And this one, we have what we call counter-narratives. We change the conversation. It is out there that this is their interpretation. Then we build a counter-narrative to put the correct things in place.
The chairman of the British Nigeria Law Forum and convener of the event speaks on the need for appropriate punishment for terrorists.
What I feel is the most important is that this seminar equips us with the capability to ensure that offenders are properly brought to justice. So not just the work of the law enforcers, but also the lawyers to ensure that proper charges are laid in the right venue, that there's a proper and thorough trial process, and of course sentencing as has been laid down by law.
With a focus on counter-terrorism in Nigeria, the rule of law and strategies for law enforcement, participants at the forum believe that building capacity within the criminal justice system is fundamental to the fight against terrorism.
Now, barely a week after the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria suspended its strike action at the federal level, the members of the Lagos branch today returned to their duty post. The legal advisor for the Lagos branch says that the strike action was called off in compliance with the national directive. Our judiciary correspondent Victoria Ido reports.
One of the gates, which was shut for the past 3 weeks, is now open for judicial activities. Lawyers and litigants coming into the court premises, and although it's still a bit scanty, administrative activities are ongoing. With the resumption of the courts at the federal level, the Lagos State Judiciary does not believe it should continue the fight only at the state level.
Met and we deemed it fit that this is the high time we called off this strike because of the fact that it was a national strike anyway, and the nationals deemed it fit to call the federal off. And we, one way or the other, trying to avoid the divide and rule thing, you understand? The NEC met and took a joint decision to go on strike. So the federal cannot go on and then resume work and allow we states to fight the struggle alone. So, and moreover, in Lagos State, our government is complying to some certain level, though they may not have satisfied the entire judgment something.
Nevertheless, the strike action took effect both on litigants and the lawyers.
Well, I think personally the greater effect is more on our clients than us. Because, I mean, I have a couple of matters that are pending. Some we had moved bail application and we're waiting for ruling, and the young man is languishing in jail till today. We are not even able to get dates now because, I mean, we have to start running around updating all our matters and getting fresh dates. So it has really worked great hardship on our clients.
Although the courts have resumed, the judges are yet to sit as lawyers would first need to get new dates for their cases or have their cases reassigned.
The strike has just been called off, and we have a date with the court today. But we have checked the court list. From what I gather from the registrar, the court will be seated by 10:30. So we are waiting for the lordship.
As we count down to the 2015 general elections, hopefully the courts across Nigeria will take a cue from Lagos State and also return to work. Victoria Ido, reporting for Channels Television News.
The Nigerian Army has dismissed insinuations that the Chief of Army Staff is preparing to assume the leadership of the country through an interim government. In a statement signed by the Acting Director, Army Public Relations, Colonel Sani Usman, the Army explains that the claim is dangerous and condemnable, given the tremendous sacrifices made by the Nigerian Army in support of the nation's democracy. The Army says the claim is a deliberate attempt to erode public confidence and trust in the Nigerian Army and warned masterminds of the rumor to desist from such acts as they remain loyal to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Well, 2 camps have been set for people displaced by the insurgency in Gujba and Gulani in Yobe State to enable them collect their permanent voters' cards. In Imo State, the governor has declared a 2-day holiday for the electorate to go and collect their PVCs without work getting in the way. Our correspondent Loretta Chogo reports that the INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in Lagos State is also proposing a holiday on Friday for the PVC collection. We'll get more about that on the other side of the break. But for now, in part 2, after the break, political parties continue their campaigns across the country to woo voters ahead of next month's elections. That's in a moment. Do join us again.